Good morning, all. Suburban Sentinel here, coming to you once again from very deep inside the Arabian Peninsula with another episode of Aftermath, where we examine real-life emergency situations and see what, if anything, we might learn from them. I apologize for both the picture quality and the sound. I have neither a camera nor a microphone. So let's get into this latest episode. There's not too many of us Americans out here, and so the ones that are here, we stick together. And my wife and I have friends, another couple about my age. And over the weekend, I get one of those in the middle of the night phone calls. My friend, the husband, calls and says his wife is in the hospital, in one of the private hospitals. She just had a heart attack. So, of course, I get my wife up and we throw clothes on and we get out of Dodge and get over to the hospital to lend whatever support that we might. And we were there for a few hours, and day breaks, and they told us basically, go home, there's nothing else you can do here. And thank God she is going to be okay. So we drive back to the compound, and then things really got interesting. Now, the compound is pretty secure, but on rare occasions, things do happen. And again, I had my wife in the car, and it's early in the morning, and we get to the inner perimeter security, and as we clear security and drive through, I hear and feel an impact on the side of the car. And right away, it was holy shit, and followed the instructions that we were given and practiced, and that is, hit the gas, head for cover, and get down and call for help. So that's exactly what we did. I figured that someone took a pot shot at us and just hit the car. So, of course, the emergency apparatus at the compound got all spooled up. The warning horns and the alarms go off and all that jazz. And my heart was in my throat. I was afraid, particularly because I had my wife in the car. So we're basically ducked down behind a fairly substantial concrete building. And all this chaos is now unfolding with us because we called for help immediately. At that point, I started to feel a little bit better because we had this massive security force doing their job and doing it very professionally and very well. But my mind was a little bit slow to spool between being woken up in the middle of the night and focusing on our friend's health situation. The brain just wasn't working correctly, and I realized that if someone took a pot shot at us, we were in real trouble because the outer perimeter fence is more than a mile from the inner security fence. So, I'm thinking, holy crap, someone must have breached the outer fence. We could be in real trouble here. So I went kind of back into panic mode. Another half an hour goes by, and it became clear that the security forces had the compound and the surrounding area completely under control. So it was safe to get up and walk around and see what was going on. So first thing is I went back to the car, fully expecting to find a nice clean bullet hole on the driver's side, but all I see is a dent. And again, my mind isn't really working that well under the circumstances. So I was like, wow, that is curious. It must have been a shot from really far away. But of course, that's kind of nonsense. The sheet metal on cars is just like paper thin. So now it's, okay, let's remove the lockdown from the compound, and it's time to start filling out paperwork and getting witness testimony as to what the hell was happening that Friday morning. So we start to piece it together, and all of a sudden my anxiety turned into embarrassment. One material fact that had completely slipped my mind that morning was the inner security checkpoint is right next to one of the holes to the golf course. So there was no intruder, there was no pot shot, there was no bullet. It was a golf ball. And that was our attack. Rather energetic young duffer had hit a ball way long, and it had hit the car as we were going through the checkpoint. So boy, did I feel like an idiot. And then another friend who happened to be on the scene said, hey, when you were coming through security, was your window open? I said, of course, windows are tinted, so we have to open the window to show our pass. And he says, look where that dent is. He says, if you had gotten through security a split second earlier, the dent is right behind the driver's window. That ball would have dropped in and probably hit you in the head and killed you. And we both kind of had a laugh about that. So what can we learn from these crazy events? Well, first, it's a good reminder that life has a way of sneaking up on you. My friend who had the heart attack, she is a youngish 55 years old and seemed to be, and by all outward appearances and routine tests, was in good health, especially for her age. Yet, she still had a pretty significant heart attack out of the blue. Second thing, no matter how much you train and how much you try to keep your mind focused, that in an emergency, you can still get stuck in stupid. And that's just kind of the way it is. And luck has a lot to do with getting through these types of emergency situations. Third, this was a good reminder to never take life for granted. Cherish every day, every moment, because you just never know when or how you will be relieved of your mortal coil. And finally, it certainly appears that the universe has one hell of a sense of humor. Again, as we said, one split second earlier, and I probably would have been taken out by that golf ball. So you can imagine, here was a guy who spent a good amount of time in his adult life preparing for things such as natural disaster, economic collapse, social unrest, and a fair bit of money doing it, out in the Middle East in a war zone, who got killed by a golf ball. You can only imagine the irony in that potential situation. So thanks for watching. This is the Suburban Sentinel. Please thumbs up, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. If you have any other lessons that you might think of, those would certainly be appreciated in the comments section. Be safe out there, everybody.